Okay. Now, your general quadratic function would be y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. And actually, this is a function. We could say y equals f of x equals x squared plus bx plus c. Okay. X equals 0, what's y equal to? Think about it for a second. If you plug in x equals 0, what are you going to get? So if x equals 0, y equals what? Well, y is f of 0. It's worth writing that up, but really you can cut to the chase here. That's going to be 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c, right? And that just equals 0 plus 0 plus c, which is just c, right? Okay, so if x is 0, it's usually really easy to figure out what y is, because everything that has an x on it is going to be 0. Now you got to be careful. If you got like a 2 to the 0, well, that's 1. That's not 0 anymore, right? But for right now, for any polynomial, any combination of powers of x, anything that's got an x on it is going to give you 0. Okay. So the graph's going to contain the point 0, c. All right. So I can sketch a graph over here. I don't know what the x scale is, but as soon as I put a mark on the y-axis, now this could be, c could be positive, c could be negative, right? Okay. So you don't know whether it's positive or negative. That might be down here, it might be up here. It could be anywhere on the y-axis. Okay. Now, if y equals 0, then x squared plus bx plus c is 0, right? Okay. Then for this function, we have a equals 1. Remember the basic quadratic function, right? The quadratic formula. So by the quadratic formula, you get this. Okay. Now, again, you don't know where this necessarily is, but this equals negative b over 2 plus or minus the square root of g squared minus 4ac over 2. Okay, so that means that where's negative b over 2? Well, if b is a positive number, then negative b is going to be over here on the negative side, right? So maybe we have something that looks like this. So let's say here's negative b. Then negative b plus b squared minus 4ac over 2 would be here. And that would be a place for y equals 0. So you'd have a point on the x-axis. It's here. Okay. So this would be here. Over here would be minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2. So the coordinate here would be, well, yeah, but I'm just hesitating to take the time to write it out there. Better do it. So this point would have these coordinates. It would have negative b over 2 plus the square root, that would be here. And over here would be negative b over 2 minus the square root. So just to be complete, that's a lot of room. Made a bad choice about where to put b, but I wanted to. So we have negative b over 2 minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2, 0, at this point. So there's a picture. The graph has to go through these 3 points. It has to look just like the graph of y equals x squared. Okay, well, you know what the graph of y equals x squared is. It's a parabola, right? So the graph has to go through these 3 points. And it has to have the shape of the y equals x squared graph. The low point is called the vertex. Now I kind of had it a little bit lopsided. Is it x equals negative b over 2? So what's the y coordinate? It's f of negative b over 2. What's f of negative b over 2? You plug negative b over 2 in here. It gives you the y coordinate. Okay. Now, it's not as much introduction as I'd like to give you to the problems I want you to do over the weekend. Okay. So I might modify the set a little bit, but what I'm going to say is get the best start you can. Because if you understand this, then you really begin to understand the big picture of pre-calculus, okay? It's a really good thing to understand when you go into pre-calculus, okay?